Opinions and ideas expressed in the following Moraine Valley Broadcast Channel recording are those of its creators and do not represent the views of Moraine Valley Community College.
Hi, I'm Aida Rasmussen.
And my name is Roberto Quiros. And one of the things that came up during the election is fundraising. So, you hear about how Hillary Clinton has raised so-and-so $1 million, whereas Donald Trump has raised a fraction of that. And one of the things that people might not be aware of is that that fundraising is central to a successful campaign. And before, if someone does have ambitions to being in public office, they need to actually fundraise. It's one of the things that a lot of people might not be aware of.
We took a look at the difference between a smaller local election and a larger national election, and the funding for those two. And there were differences between where the money was spent. For a local election, it was mostly spent on staff, printing mail offices, voter tracking, internet, phone polling and strategy, and postage, while larger campaigns focused their money on campaign consulting, lots of money on TV ads, actually the most money on TV ads, and most of this money would come from PACs, internet ads, mailers, election day, and media. So what we found was a local election seems to focus more on educating people on causes and policies, while a larger election is more focused on making the person a household name and putting a name to a face.
So, before a campaign even takes off the ground, they do need a budget for what they're going to be spending on. As she said before, that things cost money, and you have to carefully budget into how much you want to spend. So from at that point, once you have a budget set up, an idea of how much you want to spend, then you want to actually start with raising money. And there are a few places that where you can get the money you need, where you can raise the amount of money that you need. So the first place is probably yourself or from your family members. So if you have, $5,000, it's probably a good place to start for like a local election, where you can print out flyers and start passing it out to your family members and tell them, hey, I'm running for school board trustee, or hey, I want to run for mayor. You can tell them and see if they're willing to contribute some money to your campaign, and this is important, because if you can't even get your own family to support you in this, it's highly unlikely you'll get anyone else, even in your community, to support you. That being said, the next place is that you might want to look to are people in your community. So if you can tell people, hey, I've started off with $5,000, and I'm looking to other members in my community that I want to represent. It really impresses them, and that you've already started, that you do know what you're doing, that you are serious, and this isn't just you're doing this because you're bored.
So those two were mostly where local campaigns will get their money from, are the first two, while the larger campaigns don't only get money from the first two, but they'll also get money from individuals outside of their districts, PACs, and political party committees.
Yes.
But so this raises some questions, as far as morals go, with the first one on the list is a candidate and his family, or his or her family. And if you look in history and think about all these political families that seem to have like the upper hand in the system, like the Kennedys or Clintons or Bush administration. And if it's fair for these families to have this, and if you consider how much money they have, if they're actually part of the community, or if they're, their money kind of isolates them.
If someone is independently wealthy, that they do have $10,000 that's just sitting around in their bank account, they don't really know what to do with it. If they do want to run for public office, a local public office, and they do genuinely care about their community, by all means, it's fine for them to use that money because it's their own personal wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It's money that they've earned or that they've inherited or just somehow acquired, legally. That it's fine if they want to use that to start their campaign.
Yeah.
It's fine. Again, with the families, if your family does do genuinely think that, hey, my brother, my cousin, my son does want to run for mayor, or does want to run for a school board, and I genuinely think that that they can do a good job,
mm-hmm.
then yeah, by all means, it's fine if they want to support their family members.
Yeah.
But I do see where it could be a problem, in the sense that if this person self-funds their campaign and doesn't take into account the concerns of their community, of the community that they are working to represent, and this person doesn't empathize with their views on issues, then yes, that's where that person would run into a problem.
I believe that it's inevitable that money is involved in politics, but it would be nice if funding could be divorced from running a campaign, because it seems unfair that you can only win the political system if you have a financial advantage.
Yeah, and it's not just political; it's also just in terms of logistics, and in just a lot of mundane details that a lot of us would typically ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Think of how much it costs to send out a flyer to 10,000 people in your community. It really depends. If you go down to your copy shop, how much does it cost to copy a flyer in color versus in black and white?
Mm-hmm.
And then even on what kind of paper, and to make 10,000 copies of that is where a lot of the money in, say, for like a local election would go, because
mm-hmm.
The whole point is to get your name out there.
Yeah. So if we look at more specific numbers with how much money was raised in this election, actually, according to Washington Post, Hillary Clinton raised $556 million, and Trump only raised $248.3 million. So this kind of also raises the question or problem of, if it doesn't necessarily correlate with who would win, and also if you are able to run the country or run the office that year.
Yeah, it's one thing to keep in mind is that the funding is not, political contributions are made in almost sometimes are given in the sense that it's pay to play. This person, this group, this PAC gives money with the hope that this candidate will cooperate with them on a specific issue.
Mm-hmm.
But in truth, these contributions are not a guarantee of 100% guarantee of the candidate's success. So if they, they'll give it to a candidate who they think will win, but it's not a sure thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I think that concludes our segment on this topic. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.